I returned from my business trip later than planned, my heart heavy with exhaustion yet lighter at the thought of reuniting with my home's familiar warmth. I unlocked the front door with a tired smile, but the hallway was dark, the living room eerily silent. My evening anxiety flickered as I set my suitcase down, the click of its handle echoing in the emptiness. I paused, noticing the soft glow from beneath the bathroom door at the end of the hall. Something felt off. I approached slowly, each step coated in unease. The door was closed but unlatched curious. A murmur of hushed voices drifted through its frame. Gentle laughter, the rustle of dresses, and a faint melody of vows. My pulse accelerated. I turned the knob and pushed the door open, expecting a surprise party, but instead I stumbled into a floral wonderland. An arch of intertwined blooms accented the bathtub. Rose petals carpeted the tile floor, and folding chairs, draped in ribbon, faced the mirrored vanity where HOA Karen stood in a flurry of pom-pom bolero and pastel dress, officiating her daughter's wedding. My jaw dropped. Karen's daughter, eyes alight, whispered, "I do," as the groom cousin flown in from another state smiled nervously. Karen's lips parted in mid-sentence when she saw me. Her habitual smirk dissolved into horror. I stood framed by the doorway, silent as a statue, absorbing the surreal tableau of my private bathroom turned impromptu chapel. Karen's cheeks flamed. She slammed her officiant binder shut, voice sharp. "This ceremony is private property. You're trespassing." My astonishment flared into defiant calm. I raised my phone, started recording, and said evenly, "Good evening, neighbors. Live from my bathroom. HOA Karen is hosting her daughter's wedding without consent. Let's set the record straight." Comments blazed. "Is she serious? Epic Karen fail." I turned off the autolock on my screen. Section 12 of my lease covers late checkout fees, not eviction or home invasion. Hosting a wedding here is trespassing, Karen. Her face contorted. She lifted a shaky finger. "I'm enforcing community decorum." I forced a polite nod. "Right. Community decorum in bathrooms now?" At that, my neighbor Mr. Simmons appeared in the doorway behind me, phone live streaming from the hall. "Check county records. Karen, it dissolved our HOA in 2020, he called, voice steady. Karen glanced down as he brandished the certificate. The groom frowned, confusion rippling across his face. Then Carlamy, closest friend, burst in, docs in hand. "Here's the permit for that wedding," she announced, waving a temporary event license. "Date stamped, venue listed as the community center, not my bathroom." Gasps echoed from the bridesmaids squeezed behind me. Carla read aloud, "Misfiled venue address, clerical error credited to your rental agent, not the property owner." Karen paled. Her carefully plotted defense crumbled under the weight of evidence. Before she could stammer an excuse, sirens wailed in the distance. Sheriff Ramirez's cruiser rolled up with lights flashing. He stormed in, badge at the ready, scanning the floral wreckage. "What's happening here?" he demanded. Karen attempted to explain through quivering lips, citing phantom bylaws. Ramirez held up my lease, the county dissolution certificate, and Carla's permit. "Ma'am, you have no right to commandeer this private residence or file false trespassing claims. You're obstructing a lawful ceremony and trespassing. I'm issuing you citations." Her knees buckled as Ramirez read charges: willful trespass, obstruction of property rights, and filing fraudulent complaints. The crowd beyond the bathroom neighbors, drawn by the live feed, quieted, phones raised in solidarity. Karen's daughter collapsed into tears, her fairy tale wedding imperfectly real. Ramirez motioned to his deputy, "Escort Mrs. Thompson from the premises." As they guided Karen out, I turned back to the camera. Entitlement stops at your doorstep. If someone overplays their authority, we hold them accountable with facts and unity. What do you think, was justice served? Or did we push too far? As I clicked the live feed off, my mind buzzed with adrenaline and purpose. Neighbors gathered in my backyard, phones in hand, faces alight with solidarity, sharing their surprise and outrage. Mrs. Lopez, whose rose vines Karen once threatened to rip down, shook her head and said, "Tell us how we can help." I smiled, voice steady. Let's document every HOA overreach and build a public record. Behind the scenes, word spread to local news outlets. By dawn, reporters swarmed my street. Cameras trained on the bathroom door still slightly ajar like the entrance to a surreal theater. I granted interviews, recounting each twist. Karen's misplaced permit, my live stream, Sheriff Ramirez's decisive citation. The story rapidly gained traction. An entitled HOA leader usurping private property for a personal ceremony retribution was swift. Meanwhile, Karen faced the fallout. The county HOA oversight board summoned her for an emergency hearing on her multiple transgressions: trespassing, filing fraudulent complaints, and obstructing property rights. Neighbors submitted sworn statements and video evidence, painting a consistent picture of Karen's self-appointed authority. Facing mounting pressure, her influence crumbled. The developer backing her vacant threats withdrew support. Lenders froze HOA accounts, and the association's insurance provider refused further coverage. I channeled the momentum into community action. With the help of Mr. Simmons, our resident IT expert, we launched a website cataloging HOA rules, dissolution records, and citizen testimonials. We invited affected homeowners to upload photos and videos of petty fines and arbitrary enforcement. In under a week, over 100 entries populated the archive, each a testament to the power imbalance endemic to defunct or mismanaged HOAs. In a surprise twist, one entry came from Karen's own family. Her nephew, long silent under her domineering thumb, submitted a clip of Karen admonishing him for planting succulents in his front yard. His confession read, "My aunt's obsession with control drove me to silence, but today I stand with my neighbors." The revelation rippled through the feed, humanizing the costs of Karen's reign and galvanizing more voices to join our cause. Emboldened, I met with County Commissioner Reyes. In a sunlit conference room, we reviewed our archives data. She nodded with determination and said, "Let's draft an ordinance requiring all HOAs to maintain up-to-date public records, annual transparency reports, and accessible dispute resolution processes." Within days, Reyes introduced the Homeowner Accountability Act to the county board, citing our Magnolia Drive incident as its catalyst. On the morning of the Act's committee hearing, I stood before the board, flanked by neighbors and local advocates. I detailed our story: the bathroom wedding showdown, the live-stream citations, and the community-driven archive that exposed a pattern of abuses. By the time I finished, the chamber erupted in applause, commissioners praising our grassroots initiative. Later that week, Reyes announced the act had passed unanimously. HOAs must publicly file their bylaws, maintain digital archives of votes and amendments, and establish independent oversight panels with rotating citizen members. Violations would incur escalating fines and potential dissolution mandates. True to her vindictive nature, Karen attempted a final gambit, filing a lawsuit challenging the act's constitutionality. But without public support or credible evidence, her case collapsed in court. The judge's ruling affirmed the county's authority to regulate HOAs and lauded citizen engagement as vital to democracy's health. As spring unfurled in pastel blooms, Magnolia Drive buzzed with renewal. Our block erected a community garden of transparency, each planter labeled with a QR code linking to our website's HOA archive. Children sketched murals depicting solidarity over suspicion. At dusk, lantern-lit potlucks brought neighbors together in laughter and shared stories of reclaimed agency. And Karen? She retreated from local involvement, her once grandiose proclamations echoing only in archived videos. I occasionally saw her moving boxes from a modest rental apartment far from the community she once presided over. In those moments, I felt no pity. Rather, I took solace in the resilience of collective truth. That night, as I prepared for bed, I glanced at the bathroom mirror, now restored to personal sanctuary, its fairy-like garland replaced with a simple vase of white lilies. I whispered to the empty room, "Justice isn't about power. It's about responsibility." Then I tapped my phone and wrote in the story's comments, "Have you ever challenged unfair authority in your neighborhood? Do you believe community transparency can deter future overreach? Or is continuous vigilance the only safeguard?" As evening descended, The charged energy of our living room gathering remained palpable, phones still glowing with live comments. Neighbors clustered in small knots, voices low but buzzing with possibility. I stood before them, heart steady, and said, "Today proved that even the boldest entitlement can crumble under unity and truth." A ripple of assent traversed the crowd as heads nodded in agreement. In the days that followed, the ripple grew into a wave. News outlets ran follow-up segments on Karen's legal citations, titling them "Bathroom Brinkmanship," while social media coined Weddinggate to track similar HOA overreach stories. Inspired by our stand, homeowners nationwide began sharing tales of arbitrary fines, secret covenants, and unauthorized inspections. Our website's archive swelled to thousands of entries, each a testament to the thirst for transparent community governance. Amid the digital outpouring, an unexpected twist emerged. The very lawyer Karen had consulted, the one who drafted her initial trespassing notices, reached out, offering to represent homeowners pursuing dissolution of outdated HOAs. In his email, he confessed to representing multiple HOA boards in procedural errors and expressed regret for advising clients without verifying governing documents. His contrition bolstered our movement, illustrating that even confusion among professionals underscored the need for clear, accessible bylaws. Meanwhile, the county clerk's office instituted a public registry of active HOAs, requiring annual recertification and an accessible digital dashboard displaying each association's bylaws, board minutes, and financial records. Any discrepancy triggered an automatic review, ensuring defunct HOAs shed their phantom powers. Commissioner Reyes tweeted, "Magnolia Drive showed us what happens when communities reclaim transparency. Today, we make it the rule, not the exception." Back on Magnolia Drive, life took on a new rhythm rooted in collaboration. We instituted a monthly neighbors forum at the community center, where residents brought concerns about a broken streetlight, a barking dog, or ambiguous parking rules, and collaborated on solutions rather than awaiting decrees from unseen committees. Our first forum tackled noise ordinances with input from local police, K9 units, and acoustic engineers. The result was a balanced guideline protecting residents' tranquility while respecting home-based businesses and service animals. As summer melted into autumn, the community calendar filled with gathering points born of our shared triumph. A block-wide garden gala celebrating diverse landscaping styles, a civic cinema showcasing documentaries on grassroots democracy, and a potluck of perspectives, where every dish told a story of cultural heritage, fostering empathy over estrangement. Even children joined in, painting murals on the community center walls. One depicted a giant, grinning pair of scissors cutting through reams of HOA paperwork. Another showed a phoenix rising from an overturned gavel. Yet, through all this renewal, I never lost sight of the personal transformation sparked by that surreal morning in my bathroom. Karen's daughter, once collateral damage in her mother's power play, reached out to me with a handwritten note. "Thank you for rescuing my wedding. Mom made a huge mistake, and I'm sorry you had to endure it. Let's rebuild friendship, not grievance." I replied by inviting her and her new spouse to our next neighbors forum, where they could share their perspective and help foster healing across the fences of Magnolia Drive. At that forum, she stood before the assembled crowd and spoke with quiet grace. "Community isn't rules on paper. It's the respect we show each other. I want to honor that by helping revise our bylaws to ensure everyone's voice matters." Applause swelled, a testament to forgiveness and the power of communal growth. As twilight deepened one evening, I walked the length of Magnolia Drive, Rex trotting at my side. The bathroom where it all began stood quietly behind closed blinds, its fairy light arch gone, replaced by the simplicity of everyday life. Neighbors waved from front porches, their interactions cordial, open. I inhaled the scent of pine and jasmine on the night breeze and thought of the unexpected journey. A homeowner returning to find her bathroom hijacked, who chose calm documentation over confrontation, sparking legal reform, community reinvention, and a legacy of engaged citizenship. I paused beneath the street lamp where Karen's wooden sign once stood, now repurposed into a colorful community board displaying upcoming events, volunteer opportunities, and an invitation. Share your story, shape our rules. I tapped my phone and posted a final note in our archives comment section. Did one act of transparency inspire systemic change in your community? Do you believe open dialogue can prevent future overreach? I'd love to hear your experience. With Rex by my side and the soft glow of neighborly lanterns guiding the way, I realize justice isn't a destination but a journey sustained by everyday choices to speak truth, to stand together, and to demand that the power we grant one another be wielded responsibly. And in that knowledge, I found hope that every magnolia drive out there can bloom under the light of collective accountability.